I'm Robert Abley, the president of the LA Film Critics Association, and with me is Harris Dickinson. How long have you been wanting to direct a feature?
I think I probably wanted to direct before acting, to be honest. I was making shorts and skateboard videos. I was doing that quite young, and before I had a real understanding of what that meant and what my interest was, I was kind of just making them. And then I used to try to make my friends have scenes in the skateboard videos, and they were very averse to it. They just said stick to the kick flips. And then I got a bit older and I was writing a few plays, and then I wrote a short film that ultimately eventually led to this. So yeah, a while, but I guess it was a good time in the making.
Also, what makes the story the one that you wanted to make your feature debut with?
John, the credits are still rolling. Well, the screen is huge. I don't think I've even watched a film on the screen that's bigger than it. How was the sound? Was it good?
Because the sound is so great in this movie.
Yeah, oh, that's so cool. I'm glad. What did you ask?
I'll ask it this way. The character of Mike seems to obviously have come from somewhere, but is it out of your head? Is it somebody, a figure that you maybe observed?
I think he's an amalgamation of various different people. Like I've had people in my life that have dealt with similar themes in the film, and I think that I then started to work in my local community in 2019 with a couple of different organisations, and so it sort of coincided with the development of this and made me want to go further into the subject. But yeah, I think he was probably a mixture of a few different people, and probably parts of myself that I recognise in the kind of subject as well.
So when you're writing this character, are you thinking about possibly playing the part, or are you always thinking, no, I'm going to direct something else?
Yeah, no, I don't think I was ever capable of playing this role. I don't know how people do that in that capacity, like that much. Yeah.
You don't think you could have done that?
Not a director there. Frank was the man for it. There was no way I would have done it justice the way Frank did. And also it's a lot. It's a big old undertaking to make a film, and I think even despite the fact that I have a tiny role in it and I wasn't supposed to be in the film, we had an actor drop out for that role of Nathan, and we tried to audition a few people and we tried to offer it to a few people, but there was also this sense of worry from me that I didn't really feel comfortable someone understanding the world and character so quick, like in 5 to 6 days, and expecting them to kind of come on and have done all of that work around this world. And so, and Frank and I have been reading those scenes already, and we obviously had a relationship. So, not a sexual relationship, just to clarify. He is a sexy man, though. It's very good. But no, someone's like, yes. No, so yeah, there was trepidation to even step into that role, and extreme difficulty, because it was like being on set and having to kind of be across everything and see, the scene when we're fighting in the square, for example. It's like, how do I keep an eye on all of the people that are in the background and trying to cut and then run over and watch the monitor? It was not great.
Not ideal.
No.
By the way, those early scenes, they seem like guerrilla filmmaking.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of them were. Like the sort of stuff in the first 20 minutes on the streets is predominantly kind of long lens. We were quite hidden. Frank had a radio. We had ADs with hidden radios so they could, direct Frank in a certain way or tell him to walk here or go here. So it was quite covert, but it meant that we got real reactions from people, and then would ask them for releases and stuff after. But the fight scene, or the square, and the square, I say fight scene, it's not exactly a big elaborate, big stamp scene, but it's more of a like playground kid fight. But that was the only scene in that setting that was more orchestrated, because we had to control the setting, and we had to do it a lot, and it was all day. Yeah.
Frank is so incredible in this. I mean, it's sort of like it does feel like a character you might have played over the last 10 years. Somebody mysterious, soulful, complicated. What is he doing that is enhancing what you envisioned for the character? What's he like? What's an example of when you're watching him act, you're going, oh my God, this is what I envisioned and more.
He's just got this like exuberance to him. I think, despite the film having quite severe themes and the journey of Mike being difficult, he was able to bring the comedy to it, which was always important for me. And he tapped into the kind of strangeness of Mike, and the idea of a kind of reinvention in each moment, someone that was rediscovering himself in ways. And I don't know, he does a huge amount of work, but he also turns up on set and he's flexible. Like he constantly offered up new routes to a scene or routes through a scene, and I've just found that to be incredibly helpful for a film like this, because it means you can make decisions. You can make delicate decisions, because he's an actor that can go to both extremes, and then you're trying to balance the way the audience are staying with him, because he definitely tests that tolerance of him, right? Like the decisions he makes and his behaviour isn't exactly perfect. So yeah, Frank's just allowed the sensitivity to be there, and he's just a phenomenal actor.
I mean, you had an incredible 20s, from Beach Dress to Baby Girl. I'm imagining that when you start directing your first feature, you're thinking, well, the ideal film set was this. So what did you take from your experience making movies that you really wanted to create on a film set?
Yeah, it's weird to hear you had a good 20s, and I'm like at the end of it now.
You are at the end of it.
Almost 30. Wow. Yeah, good 20s, man. You had a good run. I think like the best filmmakers that I've been lucky to work with are the ones that really consider the sensitivity of what it is to act, right? And not in a kind of delicate, pretentious way, but like to be vulnerable like that, and to do it in front of a load of people that you don't know very well, and to kind of go in and out of it. The best people, Ruben Östlund or Sean Durkin or Joanna Hogg and Helena Rain, like they're all acutely aware of that tenderness and what it takes, and also the crew that they work with, and the HODs they choose, that extends to them as well. And I think my producer and I really wanted to set up a healthy environment, and encourage everyone to feel a part of the creative in a way, and I think that does breed something different to the band sets that I've been on as an actor as well. I won't name, but
we don't have to talk about it. I also love that you just kind of felt comfortable with creating this kind of intimate, surreality to the movie without explaining things for us. But did these moments, were they kind of there from the beginning, or did they come to you when you're directing?
No, they were in the script, and I think there was difficulty in kind of explaining those moments and that tone, especially when we were trying to get the film made for a couple of years, trying to get it financed. Talking to people about more abstract ideas is, when you've never made a film, there's a sort of a misunderstanding around a lot of it, and there's only so many references you can kind of pull to convince people. But ultimately, I think we were just trying to always err on the side of caution and pull back and restrain, and not be too, not be pretentious with it. But of course there will be people that find that stuff pretentious, but ultimately it's like, I just like that kind of cinema when I'm going to watch films as well. I like being able to escape from the reality of it, particularly if it's an otherwise sort of social realist drama, which is kind of the core of the film. But then, I kind of
wanted to have permission to depart that as well, you know, in order to tell a story about someone that is ultimately really complicated.
Right. I mean, this movie, you mentioned social realism. This movie definitely feels like it's in line with other British filmmakers of the past who have done this kind of thing, from Ken Loach to Andrea Arnold, Mike Leigh, Alan Clark, with some of these in the movies they made in your head. I mean,
particularly Mike Leigh. I mean, he's someone that I've grown up watching. Also his sense of comedy and like situational comedy is so good. He just embraces that. I love Lynn Ramsey. Like, Lynn Ramsey is someone that also can, like More Than Colour, for example, the film that really shows her ability to say something in truth, but also depart it, and you know, kind of dance between tones in a way. So yeah.
I'm kind of wondering. I mean, a movie like this, is society getting better or worse at looking at people like Mike, these people on the edges, and being able to actually see them, and even to think about how to help them or just accept them?
Is society getting worse in a way? I mean,
or better?
I don't know. I mean, most of the time, I mean, it's like
you have people who helped him in the movie. I mean,
yeah, and I think the way in which we depict even those, you know, the relationship with Simon, the guy he attacks, it's like I was very. I mean, I'm adamant not to like judge or victimize anyone either. Like, I didn't want to bash anyone over the head with my own moral compass or my own politics of it. It is just about presenting a character study in a way that presents a story that otherwise isn't told, right? And so I think if that can provide insight and in turn empathy, then great. But I'm not going to sit here and try and tell people what to think or do. It's kind of up to them in their own mind after seeing something like this. I mean, the idea that I think it's true for us all that we overlook these kinds of people. That's not a judgment, because I'm probably guilty of it as well, even though I've worked closely with that community. It's not. We are selfish creatures at the end of the day. We have busy lives. We can't stop for everyone. We can't help everyone, and that sentiment doesn't always mean we're bad people. But hopefully, the film just gives a bit more of an acute look at it, you know.
And then from Mike's point of view, I mean, I look at him as I see somebody who sees a membrane in life, and he's either on one side of it or the other, and he's going to be going back and forth.
Yeah.
Is that kind of how you saw him?
Yeah, I think a lot of people in that scenario often, it takes multiple times round, and that's why for me the film is so much about cycles and cyclical behaviour. It often takes a lot of times around the same loop, you know, a behavioural loop to either come out of it or not, I think.
Tell me about working with your cinematographer, Jose, incredible work, and talk about the way you talked to her about the images you wanted.
Yeah, I mean, Jose had never been to London or shot in London, which I thought was really interesting. Like, it kind of meant that we had a bit of a collision of ideas in a way, or gazes at least. I'd grown up in the city. There was a lot of locations that meant a lot to me that I'd seen and imagined the film in a lot. You know, the hotel, I worked in the hotel that he worked in.
Oh.
I worked there for a bit, and I also picked up trash in that field that he in London Bridge. So there was a lot of places that I knew we were going to go and shoot to, but we were sort of aligned in the sense that we didn't want to shoot London in a sort of iconic way. We didn't want to shoot too many monuments or too many recognisable places. And then, yeah, she's just someone who has a real eye for like choreography and composition in a way that just taught me so much on my first kind of time doing it. So it was incredibly educational for me as well, you know.
Was there anybody else in making your first movie who was especially helpful for you?
I mean, my producer Archie was very patient with me amongst a lot of desperate asks and late nights and calls in the middle of the night. So I appreciate him very much. And I mean, everyone, man. We had amazing advisors on the film. We had people from probation, prison reform. We had an amazing guy called Jack Gregory who shared his story with us and worked with Frank. And it's not as simple as one or two people. It's a group, man. It's a massive army of people.
Before I go to the audience for a question, I do want to ask, being an artist, what did making this movie tell you about yourself? Assuming that every movie you make, you feel like you learn something about. Or I'll tell you, not about yourself, but learn about what you do for a living.
Explain, sorry.
What did making this movie kind of maybe tell you about this art you chose?
Yeah. I did learn a lot about myself. I think there was a huge understanding around, making the film was I couldn't really prepare for that. I didn't know how much my brain was going to fixate on it, even in the time off. I didn't have a sort of mental break from it ever. I felt like I was dreaming about it. I was waking up in the night kind of making notes and sort of scribbles around it, and that was tiring, because I think your brain needs that rest. And Jose said to me at the start, she was like, this is like a mental marathon, by the way. I was like, that'll be fine. And then midway through, or at the end of the job, I was really kind of wrecked. But I think you also have to figure out ways of leadership, right? Like, 'cause if you're kind of steering the ship, obviously it's a collaboration, but the final decisions are kind of with you, and so you have to learn how to navigate that in a way that is fair and kind as well, because you're dealing with ideas and people's ideas, and that's sensitive, and so, yeah.
All right. Question. Make it a good one.
Hi. I wanted to ask about the title and sort of how early on in the process did you land on it?
The question is about the title and how early on in the process you landed on it.
I would love to sit here and say it was the name from the beginning, but it wasn't. We kind of had a working title that I knew was never really going to be the title. And then Urchin, I just liked the idea of, like, the Dickensian term being obviously back in the day quite derogatory, and even when we brought it up as an idea, there was people that was like, we can't do that, it's like, it's offensive. It's like, well, that's kind of the point in a way. It's and then also Frank kind of looks like an urchin. If you think about it. And he acts like one. He does, in a way. He's someone who has a deep sensitivity, but he will kind of fight and stab you if he's hurt, in a way, which is just common in all of us, Sorry, I couldn't more. It was a very intelligent answer. Sorry.
Yeah, in fact, you took it all back to Dickens. I mean, I just went back a few decades, but that's great. Thank you all for coming. Harris, thank you for making a wonderful movie. It seems to reflect who you are as an actor too. So congratulations, and thank you all for coming out.